stop scrolling. Seriously, before you swipe to another video or open another app, I want you to pause for a moment and focus. Because something happened in the world of tennis that has quietly sent shockwave through the entire sport. A moment that many fans still don't fully understand. This wasn't just another match. This wasn't just another upset. What happened recently at Indian Wells Open may very well mark the beginning of a completely new era in women's tennis. And the reason why has everything to do with one rising star and one legendary name. On one side of the story stands Alexandra Eala, a 20-year-old player from the Philippines who has been steadily building her reputation as one of the most exciting young talents in the sport. On the other side stands Coco Gauff, a global superstar, former Grand Slam champion, and one of the most heavily promoted faces of American tennis. And watching from afar was a man whose name carries enormous weight across the entire tennis world, Rafael Nadal. When these three names suddenly became connected in the same story, the entire tennis landscape shifted. Let's rewind for a moment, because the match itself was already dramatic enough. When Alexandra Eala stepped onto the court at Indian Wells, she wasn't expected to dominate the headlines. She was entering the tournament as a promising young player, but not necessarily the favorite against a top American star like Coco Gauff. Yet from the very first rally, something felt different. Eala looked calm, focused, unshaken by the enormous stage. Point by point, she began to impose her rhythm. Her ground strokes were precise, her movement relentless, and her confidence seemed to grow with every passing game. Meanwhile, Gauff, usually known for her composure and athleticism, appeared increasingly uncomfortable. Long rallies began to favor Eala. Pressure mounted. The crowd sensed something unusual unfolding. Within less than an hour, the match had taken a shocking turn. The scoreboard told a brutal story. 6-2, 6. One at what many expected to be a competitive showdown had turned into a one-sided masterclass. And suddenly, the tennis world was asking the same question. Who exactly is Alexandra Eala becoming? For fans in the Philippines and across Asia, this performance felt like a historic moment. For many analysts, it looked like the arrival of a genuine contender. But what happened next is what truly captured the attention of the global tennis community. Not long after the match, a message appeared online that instantly set tennis discussions on fire. It came from none other than Rafael Nadal. For anyone who follows tennis, Nadal's voice carries extraordinary significance. A 22-time Grand Slam champion and one of the greatest competitors in the history of the sport, his opinions are rarely casual or random. When Nadal speaks, people listen. And this time, his message was directed toward Alexandra Eala. The Spanish legend congratulated her and expressed pride in her performance, highlighting the incredible progress she has made. For casual fans, this might have seemed like a simple supportive message, but insiders understood the deeper context immediately, because Alexandra Eala is not just any young player. She is a graduate of the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, one of the most demanding and prestigious tennis training environments in the world. This academy was built on Nadal's philosophy, relentless work ethic, mental toughness, and an almost obsessive commitment to improvement. Players who train there are pushed physically and mentally every single day. Long hours on court, brutal conditioning sessions, endless repetition of fundamentals. The goal is simple: create competitors who never stop fighting. And in many ways, Eala's performance at Indian Wells looked like the perfect reflection of that philosophy. She didn't just hit big shots, she constructed points carefully. She absorbed pressure. She stayed composed when the momentum could have shifted. For observers who know the Nadal Academy system, it felt like watching that training philosophy come to life on one of tennis's biggest stages. The connection between Nadal and Eala suddenly became a major talking point across tennis media. It symbolized something larger than just a single victory. That it represented the growing influence of a new generation of players emerging from elite training systems around the world. And for Eala personally, the moment carried enormous meaning. She has often spoken about how much Nadal's example inspired her as a young player. Growing up watching his legendary battles and unmatched intensity shaped the way she approaches the sport. Receiving public recognition from the very icon she admired was more than just a compliment, that IT was validation. Meanwhile, tennis analysts began discussing what this result might mean for the broader future of the WTA. The women's tour has been experiencing a fascinating shift over the past few years. New players from different regions of the world are rising quickly and challenging the traditional power centers of the sport. Stars from Eastern Europe, Asia, and Latin America are becoming increasingly prominent. And now, Alexandra Eala is rapidly emerging as a symbol of that global transformation. Her rise also carries huge significance for tennis in the Philippines. The country has produced talented athletes in many sports, but few have reached the upper levels of professional tennis. Eala's success is inspiring a new generation of young players who suddenly see a path that once felt impossible. Back in the locker rooms at Indian Wells, players and coaches were already analyzing what they had just witnessed. Some saw it as a warning sign. Others saw it as the beginning of a thrilling rivalry that could shape the next chapter of women's tennis. Because Coco Gauff is far from finished, champions respond to setbacks. And history shows that some of the greatest rivalries in tennis were born from surprising early matches like this one. To think of the legendary battles between Nadal and Roger Federer, or the unforgettable clashes between Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova. Those rivalries pushed players to elevate their games and captivated fans for years. Could Eala versus Gauff become the next chapter in that tradition? It's too early to say, but one thing is certain. The tennis world is paying attention now. Alexandra Eala is no longer just a promising prospect quietly developing her game. She is a rising contender who has proven she can perform under the brightest lights. And with the support and mentorship of Rafael Nadal's academy behind her, the journey may just be getting started. The next tournaments will reveal whether this breakthrough performance was a single magical night or the opening act of something much bigger. But if there's one lesson tennis history has taught us, it's this. Every era begins with a moment that forces everyone to take notice. For Alexandra Eala, that moment might have just happened, and the rest of the tennis world is watching closely to see what comes next. Stop scrolling for a second. Seriously. Before you open another app, before you skip to another video, pause and think about this question. What if the tennis world just witnessed the first glimpse of a completely new era? Because something happened recently at the legendary Indian Wells Open that has people across the sport talking. And it wasn't just about a scoreline. IT wasn't just about an upset. IT was about mentality. IT was about legacy. And it was about the growing influence of a young player who may be on the verge of something extraordinary. Her name is Alexandra Eala. Across the net that day stood one of the biggest stars in tennis, Coco Gauff, a Grand Slam champion, a global icon, and one of the most recognizable faces of the modern WTA. On paper, the matchup looked competitive, but what unfolded on the court surprised almost everyone watching. From the opening points, Eala played with a level of conviction that immediately caught the crowd's attention. She wasn't tentative. She wasn't overwhelmed by the stage. Instead, she looked fearless. Every rally seemed to carry the same message. She wasn't going to give an inch. Heavy topspin ground strokes pushed Gauff deeper and deeper behind the baseline. Eala moved with relentless energy, chasing down balls that looked unreachable and turning defense into attack. And perhaps most striking of all was the look in her eyes. There was a calm intensity there, the type of focus that top champions often show when they know exactly what they want to do on court. Observers quickly began drawing comparisons to a familiar figure, the legendary Rafael Nadal. For over 2 decades, Nadal built his career on a gladiatorial mentality that defined modern tennis. His matches weren't just contests of skill. They were battles of endurance, resilience, and willpower. Opponents often described facing him as exhausting both physically and mentally, and that same never-give-up attitude appeared to be flowing through Alexandra Eala's game that night. That IT wasn't just about hitting winners, IT was about refusing to back down. Point after point, she stood her ground, returning everything that came her way. If there was an invisible message being sent across the net, it might have sounded something like this. If you want to beat me, you're going to have to earn every single point. For a player as experienced and talented as Coco Gauff, that kind of relentless pressure can be incredibly difficult to handle. The match moved quickly. games slipped away. Momentum built on Eala's side. By the time the scoreboard settled, the result was decisive. 6-2, 6. Fans inside the stadium and watching around the world realized they had just seen something special. But the story didn't end when the final ball landed. In many ways, it was only beginning. Because what happened after the match revealed another side of Alexandra Eala. One that might be even more important than her tennis. Grace, composure, perspective. In the post-match interview, she stood before the crowd on a day that carried additional significance. International Women's Day. Instead of celebrating herself, she chose to speak respectfully about Coco Gauff. She thanked her opponent for the example she has set, both on and off the court. To many viewers, it was a small moment. But within the competitive world of professional tennis, it carried real meaning. Here was a young player who had just delivered the biggest result of her career, and yet she handled the spotlight with calm maturity, no arrogance, no drama, just professionalism. For those watching closely, it was the type of response that often signals something bigger about an athlete's mindset, because the greatest champions in sports history rarely focus only on winning. They focus on the bigger journey. And in Eala's case, that journey has been deeply shaped by one of the most influential figures in the sport, Rafael Nadal. Years ago, Eala made the decision to train at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. The academy is famous for its demanding training philosophy. Young players there are taught more than just technical skills. They learn discipline, humility, resilience, and mental toughness. Training sessions are intense. Physical conditioning is relentless. The goal is simple: build competitors who never stop fighting. Many players have passed through those courts, but Alexandra Eala has emerged as one of the academy's most promising success stories. When Nadal himself publicly praised her performance, it immediately caught the attention of tennis fans everywhere. For the 22-time Grand Slam champion, public endorsements are rare. When he acknowledges a young player's progress, it carries enormous weight. Eala. It was a moment of validation. The rest of the tennis world. It was a signal that something important might be developing. And that signal is being felt far beyond the tennis courts. In the Philippines, excitement around Alexandra Eala has reached extraordinary levels. She represents a nation with more than 100 million people, many of whom are seeing a tennis star from their country reach heights that once felt unimaginable. The pride and support surrounding her rise have created a powerful fan base. Social media lights up every time she steps onto the court. Highlights spread rapidly. Young athletes begin to dream bigger. For the global tennis audience, this is part of a broader transformation happening across the sport. Women's tennis is becoming more international than ever. New champions are emerging from countries that historically had little presence on the professional tour. And players like Eala symbolize the next generation of that. Global expansion. Back inside the professional locker rooms, players and coaches are paying attention. Not with fear or panic, but with respect, because every top athlete knows how difficult it is to break through at this level. Winning matches on the WTA Tour requires extraordinary discipline, preparation, and resilience. Seeing a 20-year-old produce a performance like the one at Indian Wells naturally sparks conversation. Analysts begin asking questions. Is this a breakthrough moment? Is this the beginning of a new rivalry? Or is this simply the next step in the development of a promising young talent? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. Alexandra Eala is now firmly on the radar of the tennis world, and the upcoming tournaments will provide the next chapter of her story. Among them is one of the most prestigious events in the sport, French Open at Roland Garros in Paris, for Rafael Nadal. That tournament became his personal kingdom over the course of his career, his dominance on the clay. Courts of Paris is one of the most extraordinary achievements in sports history. Winning there requires patience, endurance, and tactical intelligence. IT rewards players who are willing to fight through long rallies and never give up on difficult points. Those qualities happen to align perfectly with the style Alexandra Eala has been developing, which is why many fans are curious to see how she performs on the red clay. Imagine the atmosphere if she steps onto the courts of Roland Garros carrying the momentum of recent victories. Imagine the excitement of the crowd watching a rising star shaped by the Nadal Academy, competing on a surface where Nadal built his legend. It would be a powerful moment for tennis. But before dreams turn into reality, there's still a long road ahead. Professional tennis seasons are demanding. Players must adapt to different surfaces, travel constantly, and maintain peak physical condition. Momentum can shift quickly. Even the greatest champions experience setbacks along the way. For Eala, the challenge now is consistency. Can she reproduce that level of performance again and again? Can she handle the expectations that come with sudden international attention? Those are the tests that ultimately define a player's career. Fortunately, she appears to have a strong support system guiding her journey. Coaches, mentors, and teammates from the Nadal Academy continue to play an important role in her development. And the philosophy she learned there, humility, work, ethic, perseverance, may prove to be her greatest advantage. Because in the end, tennis success isn't just about talent, but it's about mindset. The willingness to keep improving, the determination to compete with courage regardless of the opponent across the net. If Alexandra Eala continues to embrace that mentality, her future could be incredibly exciting. For fans of the sport, that means something even better. More compelling matches, more emerging rivalries, more unforgettable moments. Maybe one day, we'll look back at that night at Indian Wells and recognize it as a turning point. The moment when a young player announced her arrival to the world, or maybe it will simply be remembered as one chapter in a long and fascinating career. Either way, the tennis world will be watching closely, because players with Alexandra Eala's combination of talent, composure, and determination don't come along very often. And when they do, the entire sport feels like now the question shifts to you. What do you think about Alexandra Eala's performance and her rapidly growing impact on the WTA Tour? Could she become one of the defining players of the next generation? How far do you think she can go in the upcoming tournaments? And which players might emerge as her biggest rivals in the years ahead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video with fellow tennis fans, because if the early signs are any indication, the journey of Alexandra Eala might just be getting started, and the next chapter could be even more exciting than the last.